What's up, guys? Back in the shop. It's a new day and we're making progress. I have cut the fender out on this side to match the driver's side as good as possible. I've spent a little bit of time playing with the axle to try to get it centered and the height back to where it's supposed to be, because before I tore this thing apart I measured from the tube bottom to the ground so that I could try to replicate my ride height and everything as close as possible. I did raise the front up about an inch to try to give me a little bit more up travel before I hit the bump stops. So I adjusted the coilover accordingly, and I was told when I got the coilovers that these things were tuned to be ridden with about 4 inches of shaft showing. I've got it at like 4 3/4 because I raised the body up an inch, and if I want to come down I still want to be in that window of where the coilover's tuned to be. So I set it, I put a hose clamp around it so I can mess with it and don't have to worry about the coilover collapsing on me or moving up and down. I gotta take these back off and grind the tops out just a little bit because the coilover it's not in a bind, it's not pinching it, but it's super close, and if as the axle rolls going up and down, it would put a bind on that. I don't want to have a problem with breaking the end off or whatever, so I'm just gonna flap disc the inside of these out just a little bit to give me some room. Then I'll go ahead and weld those on, and I have already had a hoop kind of sitting in here, and again these are rough stuff hoops, and that thing's gonna sit beautifully like right there. The hood clears the coilover. I'm gonna notch the end of those so I can do them like how we did Casey's, or how his were made, I think, to do the little like stands. I think it'll be easier to weld that way and not try to cut that angle into those towers or hoops. Weld those in at the bottom, tack the hoops in, tack the tabs to the hoops, good enough that it'll hold the weight of the Jeep. Try to replicate this on the other side and then be able to set the weight of this thing down on the coilover. I got some work done. As you saw, I have a hoop partially installed, well, partially welded. It's where it's going to live. I've checked my axle center. I went ahead and moved the axle forward almost an inch, so not quite as much as I wanted to, but that's about all the heim joint I had, and I don't want to build lower links for another ½ inch or whatever. I probably need to go back through and put a little bit more weld on it before I try to set the weight of the Jeep on it, but it's ready for that. Now I get this side over here to match, and I will be ready to actually put springs back on the coilover, bolt it up, and set the weight of the Jeep on it and see what it looks like. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'll get the camera set up and get to work. Stick around. Alright, let me show you what I'm doing here. So I've basically been just back and forth with like my angle finder and a measuring tape and trying to make sure that the coilover and everything is as close to the other side as possible. So I didn't set the other side to any particular measurements. I just lined everything up where it looked good and tacked it up. So now I'm just trying to duplicate that over here. And yes, I know a couple of degrees off on these little tabs wouldn't hurt anything except for my feelings. So that's why I'm doing this. These things right here, when it comes to cleaning off paint or like the bed liner coating stuff that I sprayed under here, far superior to a flat disc. These things work great. They don't gum up like a flat disc will. It just blows through the paint or whatever you got and keeps on going. here's what's going on. If I were to put the bracket up here, which I think the angle would be okay, but I only get an up travel to here, and then I'm in the oil pan. Whereas if I have it down here, I can get a couple more inches out of it, probably 4, 5, 6 inches out of it. It's gonna mean modifying this to sit off the front, basically. What if I cut this off, use this, welded this part off the front of the axle, and then stood this up on top of it?
Thought that some bitch jacked my jaw. When that end flipped up, I swear that thing felt like it just passed my nose.
What's up? Back at it. Oh, it just got really dark. Oh man, I got some stuff done though since the last time you saw this thing. Forgot the camera the last time I was here, so you missed some stuff. But the track bar bracket is done. I ended up cutting off that the Barnes bracket and just mounting it straight on top of the truss itself. I went ahead and welded up the hoops a little bit better, so I feel a little more comfortable about actually putting the weight of the Jeep on the coilovers. So today the plan is to actually get the coilovers on it, bolt it up. So yeah, let's get started. There it is, on its own weight, on coilovers. We got it jacked up about 1 inch because it sits about 2 inches too low.
Yes. With
no nitrogen in the shocks, and with the adjusters ran all the way up and 0 preload. And she's wide. We're gonna need some probably 1.5 inch spacers in the back to even this thing out. I cycled the axle before to check clearance on everything, and I knew that it wasn't going to hit, so yeah, look at that. The angles on all of this stuff are way better than what I had before, because my tie rod was real steep and it would bind the heim joints when I was turning. Yep.
Yeah.
We're back.
Once again, we're doing a little bit more on Jonathan's.
Yeah, the last time you saw me get the coilovers on, set it down on its own weight, and then after that I've been kind of playing around with bump stops and the locations and brackets and all that, and I'm back on that today.
Shoot, yeah, let's see what you're doing.
These are Barnes bump stop plates, and I've cut the ear off this side so I can just butt it straight up to the truss here. And then I'm going to come down with a kicker, just another piece of 1/4 inch plate all the way down to the axle. So that's going there. The bump stop will go up here, and then I'm going to have to do kind of a backbone piece on this, like a rib that's going to go all the way up the back and come in a couple inches on the body to give me some more support, because this obviously is not going to be enough.
And that right there, which, I mean, yeah, we'll get everything straightened up once we start welding everything in, but that is so weak. There's a lot going on right here, but it's all clean. If everything's works.
Alright then.
Take 2! And this is everything up at full bump, so I mean everything is clearing.
Yeah, it's tight though. Look at that track bar.
It is tight, but I mean it's way further off than what it was before.
Yeah.
You know, last time everything was against the springs. It would bind up. So that's clean there.
Yeah, I've learned a lot since last time, and doing this a different way than I did last time.
So without further ado, let's get to cutting and welding. Because it is, what, 28 degrees here today?
Cold, it's been snowing.
It was
the day before it was
almost 70.
Yeah. Alright, there's what we're looking at. think the fit is really good there. I shouldn't have any clearance issues with anything. Now I just got to figure out this support piece for the back, and I think I'll be set. That's it. I used some high-tech cardboard aided design technology to make a template. Now I just got to turn this into a piece of metal, which you're about to see me do next. Bracket. See, I told you, cardboard to metal, just like that. So that's going to sit like that. And I'm debating on taking maybe one of these that fits like this, splitting it down the middle. Whoops, like that. So that I would have, I don't know, just another support piece to help keep it from twisting. I know it's probably a little overkill, but I think it would look nice. So it would be up there just like it was meant to be, but cut the back out of it.
Okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, not only that, I mean, ain't nobody gonna be on there looking at it, but it would look good.
Yeah. People on YouTube are gonna see it.
Yes. That's the only ones
That's all that matters.
that count.
Looking good is 90% of wheeling. And you can see tie-in piece here that I added, which is not welded to the axle. I gotta weld it under here, but my other idea was to try to take a piece of tube and notch it to fit under there, but I feel like that would have been a lot more difficult than just cutting a plate. And there you have it, one Dana 60 back out of the Jeep. That's, honestly, it's not that bad to do. So my plan is to pull the fenders back off. I'm going to run a piece of 1.5 inches from the A-pillars and tie into the hoop right along the top of the core support, out here somewhere, down to a hoop. Probably help me tying those in. So thanks for watching. That's it. We got a lot to do, and you'll see that in another episode.
And one day we might be out on the trail sometime, really.
Maybe. Peace.
You know what I hear?
No one, Paisley.
I hear some heathens. What do y'all want?